Crespo is going to be host for Let's Talk Football, the round table. And Let's Talk Football ladies.
Hey. Hi everyone in LTF. Delilah Crespo here with another episode of Diversity with Delilah. And today I am bringing you Mr. Ozzie Newsome, Hall of Fame tight end and first Black American NFL general manager. And so let me talk to you a little bit about Mr. Ozzie Newsome. I'm sure some of you are already familiar with him, but here we go. Again, he is a Hall of Fame tight end, and he is considered the NFL's first African-American general manager. They nicknamed him the Wizard. He was the Baltimore Ravens general manager from 2002 to 2018. But let's go a little bit deeper. He was the architect of two Ravens Super Bowl teams. The first one was during the 2000 season. At that time, he was the vice president of player personnel. The second Super Bowl team that he led was in 2012, and that's when he was general manager. While Newsome has been one of the most effective NFL executives of the 21st century, he first gained fame as a player. People know who he is from his playing days. He is a native of Muscle Shoals, Alabama. Newsome's football journey began in Layton, Alabama, where he first stepped onto the gridiron with the hope of playing college football. That dream turned into reality when he became a standout at Alabama under Bear Bryant from 1974 to 77. Newsome has said, "Coach Bryant helped me grow up," who has a sideline portrait of the legendary coach and mentor on his office wall. Newsome also said, "He pushed me further than I thought I could go, both on and off the field." So just so you know, Newsome did graduate from Alabama with a degree in recreation administration. So he didn't just succeed as a player, he also graduated with a bachelor's degree in recreation admin. During his 4-year career with the Crimson Tide, he posted 102 receptions for 2,070 yards and 16 touchdowns. Newsome also helped Alabama capture 3 SEC championships. As a senior in 1977, he was named team captain and the Southeastern Conference's lineman of the year. Newsome also earned All-American honors at wide receiver. He was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame, by the way, in 1994 for his time with Alabama. Now, when he was drafted in 1978 by the Cleveland Browns in the first round, 23rd overall of the NFL draft. He played 13 seasons with the Browns as a tight end, and he had an insanely great career with them as well. A 3-time Pro Bowler, he had 662 receptions for 7,980 yards and 47 touchdowns. It stood as an NFL record until another famous tight end, Mr. Shannon Sharpe, surpassed those marks in 2001. Okay, so Mr. Ozzie Newsome's records stood for a long time until Shannon Sharpe came around and surpassed all those marks in 2001. Tony Gonzalez now owns the most catches and receiving yards, while Antonio Gates holds the most touchdowns. But in all 3 categories, Mr. Shannon Sharpe, crazy talented. But again, Ozzie Newsome, star tight end, came in and was killing it in Alabama, came into the NFL and killed it with Cleveland for 13 seasons. After he retired as a player for the Browns, he became their scout. And later, he also became the team's director of pro personnel. Following his storied days, Ozzie joined Cleveland's front office. His initial non-player position came as an assignment scout in 1991. 2 years later, he was promoted to a more comprehensive role as assistant to the head coach office, blah, 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 pro personnel. He said, "I had to find out which direction my career would go." He said, Our model gave me the opportunity to work with the coaches, and I enjoyed that. At the same time, I increased my experience with the personnel department and decided that's where I wanted my career to head. That's, again, Ozzie Newsome. He wasn't sure what he was going to do after playing football, right? And so he was testing these different executive positions to see what else he wanted to do with football after retiring as a player. And this is when he decided that's what he wanted to do, right? Kind of go more up the ladder as in the administrative part. In 94, Newsome was named the Browns Director of Pro Personnel. Although he continued to help on the field, Ozzie provided detailed studies on other NFL players and recommended which players the Browns should try to acquire. When the franchise moved to Baltimore, because I don't think people realize how the Baltimore Ravens came about, when the franchise moved to Baltimore in 96, there was a deal that the owner at the time made with the city of Cleveland. They allowed him to move his team, but the city got to keep their storied name, right? The Cleveland Browns. And so when that owner moved the team, the franchise, okay, moved them to Baltimore, that's when they became the Baltimore Ravens. And this is why the Cleveland Browns continue as the Cleveland Browns, because of the deal that the owner made with the city, that they will leave the name there with the city of Cleveland, which I think is appropriate. It is a historic team, and it would be kind of sad for Cleveland not to have the Cleveland Browns. So I get why that deal was made. Anyway, so when the franchise moved and became Baltimore Ravens, Mr. Model invited Newsome and promoted him to vice president of player personnel. From that point, Ozzie's reputation as a supreme talent assessor grew. In the Ravens' first ever draft, Newsome tapped T. Jonathan Ogden and L.B. Ray Lewis, 4th and 26th selections respectively, combining to produce an amazing 24 Pro Bowl honors. Ogden became the first Ravens draft choice elected into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2013, while Lewis was enshrined in 2018. Mr. Ozzie Newsome has also been inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He was inducted as a tight end, as a player in 1999. Now, it's very possible for him to be inducted again, but as an executive, because there's different levels. I'm not sure if everybody's kind of familiar. You can get inducted as a player and a coach and all these different branches into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So there's a lot of people out there saying that eventually Ozzie will be inducted again, but this time as a part of the personnel, like an administrative part. So anyway, so that is Mr. Ozzie Newsome. He is still working for the Ravens. He is the executive vice president. So although he's not the general manager anymore, he still is an active and significant player in the Ravens franchise and team. And so again, the Costa is the current general manager. But again, Newsome is still employed by the Ravens, and he is the executive vice president at the moment of the Baltimore Ravens. And there you have it. That is Mr. Ozzie Newsome. Take care, everyone. Until next week.
Yeah.